Welcome back to Prophets of the Exile, Lamentations, poem number 5. You have made it, and we are ready to wrap up this study. And today I want to look at the 5th poem of Lamentations, and I want to show you right off the bat in chapter 5 that this is a communal request for help in chapter 5. He starts out with, "Remember, O Yahweh, what has befallen us. Look and see our disgrace." And then if you look closely at the text, you'll find out who us is. You'll see so many examples of individuals, and I'm going to leave that for you to do in your follow-up work to find out who the us is. But there's this communal prayer of mercy. Please, Lord, please. We have come to terms with the utter destruction of our city and the desolation of your temple and the deportation of your people to Babylon. And we are asking for mercy. And it's so honest and so raw the way this ends. I told you earlier in this study that the Hebrew acrostics were complete in the first 4 poems. We have the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet that start each of the verses in the first 4 poems, which suggests that the destruction, the humiliation, the devastation of Jerusalem and the temple and the people of Israel was complete, because the complete alphabet is there. But I mentioned that the 5th poem doesn't follow that exactly. There's not a complete acrostic. It doesn't follow, if it were English, it doesn't go A, B, C, D, E, all the way to Z. It's not complete. And we see that there's this cliffhanger at the end where the writer, the author of Lamentations, who's making this communal plea for mercy, is so raw and so honest. Let's look at that again. So he says in verse 19, "But you, O Yahweh, reign forever. Your throne endures to all generations. Why have you forgotten us completely? Why have you forsaken us these many days? Restore us to yourself, O Yahweh, that we may be restored. Renew our days as of old, unless you have utterly rejected us and are angry with us beyond measure." So we end this set of 5 poems written to people who survived the destruction of Jerusalem. This was written to people who were deported to Babylon and then eventually came back home to Jerusalem, or people who were the poor vineyard dressers who were left in the land by King Nebuchadnezzar. It's written to the survivors, and we're left with this cliffhanger. We're wondering, Lord, please restore us, and are you gonna restore us? And I wonder if you've ever been in a situation like that, where you've had such a trauma in your life, such a personal failure or a circumstantial disaster or some other kind of event in your life where you were just broken, just devastated. And I want you to know that if you have had that kind of experience, if you've had that kind of experience, I believe that Yahweh wants you to know it's okay to cry out to Him, to cry out, to be outraged about what happened, to take responsibility for your own participation in it, of course, but to be honest with Him. This book, Lamentations, is so raw and so honest about the human experience and how, as the Bible Project puts it, the human condition is one of exile. From the beginning of the Bible to the end, until we get restored to Jesus, we are people who are aliens, who are wandering around in a broken world where there's a lot of really bad things that happen to good people and to bad people. And Yahweh is a God of mercy and justice. So there's this tension and this balance between His justice for injustice, His justice on human wickedness, just punishment that should happen because people are mean to each other. They're wicked and evil and they hate Him. And also His steadfast loving kindness and mercy. So the fact that we end with this cliffhanger tells me that it's okay to find yourself in a place like that right now. In our current circumstances, in your current circumstances in your life, wondering, like, where is this story going? And I think that the author of Lamentations, who wrote this to the people who survived, wants them to use it as an exercise, an emotional exercise in remembering and not forgetting what happened, remembering their part in it, their participation in it, or their ancestors' participation, and uh, continuing to cry out for help. Jesus himself in the Gospels doesn't often go around picking people to help unless they want his help. And there's so many examples of that we saw in the Gospel of Luke, where Jesus would be going along, doing his teaching, moving through the cities, and someone would touch him or someone would cry out to him, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." And Jesus would turn and look at that person and say, "What would you have me do?" And that person would speak in faith, and Jesus would respond in faith and reveal himself and redeem and heal that person. So for us as Christians, no matter where you are in your walk right now, what's happening in your life, if you aren't hearing from Yahweh, there's probably some unconfessed sin that you need to bring before him. So I encourage you to do that before you have more calamity come on your life. I hope none of you are in that situation, but if there's something you need to confess, you need to get it done. You need to bring it before him right now, and he will forgive and cleanse you of all unrighteousness. If you're walking with him, but you're in a crisis or a trauma or a catastrophe situation in your life right now, you're really suffering, keep crying out, keep asking him, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. Yahweh, please don't forgive us, or don't forget us. Please forgive us." In verse 21 of the fifth point, he says, "Restore us to yourself, O Yahweh, that we may be restored." So there's this idea that we can't be restored without your divine intervention. We need you to restore us. And please don't let this catastrophe, this trauma last too long. Teach us everything we need to learn from it, but please don't abandon us. Be here with us and take care of us. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this study. I hope you've learned a lot, and I hope that you're able to see the suffering in your own life and the suffering in the world around you, and know that Yahweh doesn't like it. He doesn't want this human suffering and wickedness and corruption. It grieves him. He is grieving as much in the Lamentations as the people of Israel and the people of Jerusalem are grieving. In your own grief, he's also grieving. So the best place to be is right there with him, obedient, following him and loving your neighbor as yourself. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I love you, and I hope that you will continue to walk with him. Don't veer to the right or to the left. Just follow him, and he'll take care of you. And I'll talk to you soon.